this is a product that I didn't actually think we'd ever get in the English version of Vanguard, but hey, here we are. Stranger things may continue to happen, I guess. This is the CoroCoro Start Deck Pack Special Series 5 for English, and this is basically a collection of properties in the CoroCoro magazine comic, which, to I guess dumb it down, is basically just a kid's version of Shonen Jump. So instead of Goku and Ichigo, we get Grandpa and Black, right? But we've got two of these because it's sort of a weird booster box. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So the reason why myself and many of us, speculated that we would not be getting this product is because of the licensing that Richard would have to go through this, right? Because there's several different IPs, at least minimum 5 of them. There's actually a couple more that they'd have to clear in order to actually be able to get this product released in the West. So this actually came out in November in Japan, so it is a bit outdated already, but it's a really good product nonetheless for the most part. So the whole premise behind this is that you're supposed to be able to, within a single booster, be able to build an entire deck. You're just using this one box. That we'll see how that works out, but presumably we should get at least 16 triggers, including the over trigger, 4 PGs, and units that have Vanguard effects for your ride line, right? And it does come with an energy generator that you can see right here. So we'll see if that's actually true, but this does have the 5 decks, right? Decks for all 5 of these characters included in the set. There's also a variety of different reprints in this set as well. But yeah, they kind of just threw in the generator and counter, which is kind of funny. Like there's no, plastic or like wrapping or anything. I find that a little bit funny, but it is nice that there's an easy way to get that, right? So this is a very interesting product because there are only 3 cards per pack, right? And the box itself contains 24 different packs, so it's more packs than the usual like half-cut boosters, right? Double and some more, but the pack size is still the same. It's very weird, but we have a lot of different cards here. This one is for Chrono, so this is for the Fate Rewinders. I don't remember the actual manga name, but this is for that deck, right? What they've done is that there's of course a triple rare version of each of the main protagonists for their corresponding manga of the 5 that are on the box, but then there's also a common version that has kind of the same effect, same important effect, but it has like a slightly weaker, it's slightly weaker because it's like missing an effect or something like that, right? Here's a Deca, who will hopefully see the other half too, and then there's also heals and triggers that you can see that are actually both nationed, right? So a lot of these cards, all of these cards, except for a couple of them, are actually dual nation cards, right? With CoroCoro being its own nation, and then Dark States in this case, Keter for this, and Brancate for Black here. So you can actually use this in whatever deck you want, which is cool. I do wish these were in foil, because I'm pretty sure we're never going to get this ever again, right? So it would have been nice if it just automatically came in foil. Here's another one for Deca. Hopefully we'll get the body so you can see what that's all about. Here is the front trigger. We also have effect fronts, but you can't use that outside of CoroCoro, unfortunately. I feel like that's kind of a bit of a misstep. But so far we got 2 triggers. Let's see if we can actually build a deck out of this. And I would go through all these cards, I guess, but there's a lot to go through. And a lot of it won't make sense to you unless I read the corresponding card, right? So I'm trying not to spend too much time with it. Like for example, this says you choose a grade 0 normal unit with and its carding frame drop and holds your rear. You're probably wondering, what the hell is a baby? Is that a baby? You're correct. It is a baby. So this is Series Mode. This is the common version of the triple rare ride deck grade 3 version, right? But he basically has like the ability to, the way this deck works is that you overdress units essentially. except you overdress them from your hand, and then you take the overdress, the one that's on top, you actually bring it back to your hand, so it doesn't stay on board and get like destroyed, and you overdress again next turn, right? But this has the common version effect, so I think the triple rare, instead of 5k here, gives 10k to front row, so that's what you can expect. And here's the black critical trigger, which is really nice. Yeah, I wish these were in foil, because you know they're not like they're ever gonna get reprinted, so just make them in foil to begin with, right? That would make sense to me. Here's a big old fat panda. Here is the common version for Chrono, and then here is a critical trigger for Dragon Empire. So far we have ourselves 4 triggers, 0 PGs. Here is our Fate Rewinder. The art surprisingly looks nice, right? Like, I know it's like nothing crazy and it's kind of simplistic, but I think it looks kind of nice, like with the actual card itself, if that makes any sense. Like the way the cards are done for Vanguard, I feel like this art actually matches it pretty well, to be honest. But here is 1 Sentinel, so you can again play this in any other deck if you want. For Dragon Empire, right? Or technically CoroCoro as well, because it is both nations. So you can play it just in the CoroCoro nation, but I haven't actually experimented with that too much. But I have played each of these different decks, right? And I've tested them out, and I'll have a video about that coming out soon. But here's one of the overdresses you can go into. Here's the retry eye for Chrono, and then here's a heal trigger. So we have 2 heal trigger. I'm curious to see if they'll give you the same triggers that you would get from like a trial deck, which is like 4 heals, 4 crits, like 3 draws, and 4 fronts or something like that. But we'll see. Here's Advancing into Space, which is a Blitz Order for Bebe, who's the little baby. And then here's the starter for Bebe, again, still a baby. And here's the draw trigger, right? So we got ourselves a draw trigger. So far we have ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't see it, but I have it up here, and 1 PG. This has got to be the simplest art I've ever seen in my entire life on a Vanguard card. Okay, cool. Our first hit here is going to be the triple rare, Strongest Rewinder, Shoot Eye. If you have a Vanguard with Rewinder in this card name, or is from the CoroCoro nation, this card gets all the following. So it has the retry keyword, which really matters for the order that we just looked at, the retry eye, which just basically lets you give an effect to units that have that specific ability, right? So it's just a archetype name if you want to consider it that. But then in drop, if your order zone has a retry, which is a set order, it's a set order, but it's actually from Dark States. But if you do not have this unit on board, you can CB1 call this, and it gets that all of your Chrono Vanguards get 5k power to end of turn, and also has this version up keyword. So this is if you either Persona Ride or if you have 4 more damage. So either Persona Ride or have Limit Break, essentially. When it attacks a grade 3 or greater, it gets 10k, and you can EB3 and get a crit to the end of battle. So nice little like Zamoog, which is pretty cool. Chrono, the Dark States CoroCoro deck is, I feel like for most people, the strongest one out of all of them. I feel like they're all fun, at least. I actually enjoy playing a lot of them, but yeah, Chrono seems to be the strongest out of all of them. So yeah, so we've got an OT here, but it's for the CoroCoro specific nation. This is CoroCoro comic. In addition to the usual overtrigger effect, this says choose one of your units, and you can choose one of the following. Either gives a unit a crit, or choose a unit that is standing, and it gets it at the end of the battle that it attacked, you can stand that unit. So you basically get the choice of either blue or red OT, which I think is kind of nifty. Kind of like the idea of cards that give you choices. There's a lot of that in other card games. You see that a lot in like Shadowverse, and Vanguard's sort of starting to pick that up, but I feel like that's a nice way to make a card more useful in different situations, while also not making it as broken, right? Here's another and here's a critical trigger. Very nice. So we got ourselves 3 crits so far. 1 draw, 1 front, 2 heals, 1 OT, single sentinel. Here is UFO Grandpa, who has a cool skill of dangerous skill. So this deck is all about essentially gambling, because the Vanguard lets you reveal cards until you get a card with the dangerous skill that is not in your bind zone. and then you basically activate its effect, right? So you bind a card and it'll give you an effect. So this one just says that your Vanguard gets 5k in a drive. There's another one that says that if one of your units, if its attack hits, you win the entire game, right? So they're pretty nuts. There's one that says it does nothing. But here's Void Black, and then here's the PG that I'm hoping to get a lot of. It's a breeze. Here's the PG for 3k. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, these cards, one, they don't have any flavor text, if you've noticed, which I feel like kind of sucks, right? They did have flavor text originally on the Japanese side, but I guess they tried not to translate it for whatever reason. And then also, for the few cards, it's usually just the grandpa cards that have like Japanese characters, because they're like from manga panels. They didn't translate the text out there either, which I guess and that one would have been a little bit more me asking for more than they usually do. But this not having flavor text is kind of funny, and I just realized I had this card under the triple rare. But we got the PG for Black Channel, so that's pretty cool. This one looks pretty cool. All the black cards look really nice. That is also, I want to say, the stronger one of the decks as well, with the promo version being extremely strong, but that's kind of different from the way this deck plays, the one from this set, right? So yeah, this is the one that I was saying. This is Victory Grandpa. So you have, first of all, the cost of it is you saying words, but yeah. So when this is bound from deck by the ability of your grandpa, you choose one of your CoroCoro cards that gets 15k, and if you have 5 or more damage, you say the words to pay the cost, major comeback, and it also gets the red text that if its attack hits a Vanguard, you instantly win the game. So pretty fun little card there. Here's the grade 2 for Deku, or Deka, and then here's a draw trigger. So Grandpa's really interesting. Deka's kind of like the more whatever one, but I've actually played him and he's actually interesting as well. But on face value, he's the one people give the least shit about, to be honest. We got here another draw trigger. So that's 3 draw triggers so far, 3 crits, and a front and 2 heals. Here is Grandchild. Well, the reason why I wish they had flavor text is because like a lot of people don't know these characters or anything like that, and a flavor text would have at least added a tiny bit of context. But this just leaves you like, okay, sure, I guess someone died. But yeah. Here's another. This is the so this is the common version for Grandpa. As you can see here, reveal the top cards. CB1 reveal top cards until you have a danger skill that's not in your bind zone, and bind that, and you get to use the effect. Here's the crit for Chrono, which I feel like a lot of people are really gonna like. It looks really cute. But that is 4 crits. So we are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 5 more triggers, and we can actually build a deck out of this. So here's the overdress, essentially. For we got ourselves a triple rare again. Here's Mortally Zero Taro. So when this is placed on rear from hand, if you have a Vanguard or CoroCoro, you can CB1, choose one of your opponents. Your opponent chooses a card from their hand and discards it. Then at the end of the battle, that it boosted a unit in the explosive growth state, which is basically overdress for this deck. Literally the same thing, you just place the card on top of it, right? If you have a greater or greater with in its card name, you can put this to solo in either counter charge or energy charge 1. Pretty cool. And was this card always in black and white? Hold on a minute. So here's a critical trigger. This one is CoroCoro specific, right? So you can only play this if your nation is entirely made up of CoroCoro cards. So that means you can't include cards that you can include cards that are CoroCoro and something else, but you cannot include cards that are only some other nation, right? So if I were to play like Dark States cards, I can't do that unless they also have CoroCoros with that. But they printed effect triggers for them. So this is the one where after boost goes to soul, give something 2k. Unfortunately, you can only use that if your deck is entirely CoroCoro, which I feel is really lame. They could have easily made these playable in other decks. Okay, no, the original one is also in black and white. I thought it was like a printing error, but no, yeah, that's just what he looks like. So you can only play these in a CoroCoro deck. So technically, that is our 5th crit. Technically. Then we got ourselves here Satoshi, who works with black. We got ourselves another heal trigger. Cool. So we just need one more heal trigger. And we can build the CoroCoro version of the deck, right? So can't build any individual version. Keep getting the legs for deck out. We're not getting the body. Here's the. Oh, here we go. Okay, I don't think it's the very same. Which one is this? Big hearted. It's not that one. So Deca's kind of funny because he is. His whole stick is that he's a giant middle schooler or high schooler or whatever the hell. I don't know which one it is. Let's just say it's this one. And his whole thing is, as a deck, is that he's so tall he doesn't fit in the cards. So he has upper body and lower body pieces, which is really funny. And you literally have to build that on the Vanguard field, right? So the body always has an effect that lets you use EB2 to call a specific leg in the same column as it, back row. And whenever you guard with it, you have to take all the cards that are attached, right? So they become in the oversized state, essentially, which just means that they're like attached because they're literally his legs and body, which I think is kind of cool, at least in terms of like the flavor for the card. And then we got ourselves here another crit. I really like this crit because it's just Deca balling. I think it's kind of funny. But that is going to be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crit. Okay, a lot more crits than I expected them to give you to build in a deck. That's cool. I might actually give you all 8. Here's more legs for Deca. Ooh, we got the grade 4. Very nice. So this is the another triple rare. This is ruler of the demon realm. Sorry, Demon King Black. So if your order zone or your rearguard has a camera chan, you can CB1 to on a turn. All your rearguards become the deal state, and they get 5k power. Then you basically do the Bastion effect, where at the end of the battle's attacks, you put either a greater or greater black from hand or soul into drop. Stand all of your rearguards in the deal state. They get 5k power. And then at the end of the turn, retire all your rearguards that you restood that way. So pretty cool. This is going to be our 4th PG, I think. Yeah, which is going to be the Fate Rewinders one, which is also a really cool one. I'd like to get more copies of. So far we have at least 4 PGs, and we should have at least, I think, enough triggers to actually play the deck. A deck. Here is Deca. I think that's the one that I was trying to match with. Very big. No, this one. Yeah, there we go. So these two actually match. Before I just picked a random one for the sake of it, but these two, the art actually matches, right? So you can see it, which is pretty cool. I got ourselves a front trigger. I really like this product. It's just the most unfortunate product in the world. Similar to the Token Roundbook product, where it's released super late, but then on top of that, certain international issues made this product a lot more expensive than it needs to be. So it might not be as widely circulated as maybe most of us would want, but there are a lot of reprints in this set, which is really cool. We just haven't seen any because the pull rates for them are complete ass. This is 1 per box, I believe, right? So this guy is actually behind them. So this triple rare that I pulled here, you can actually see he's actually on the other side of the card, which is kind of funny. But this black looks so cool. It's just a common, but this is the common version of the grade 3. We saw the grade 4, but this is the grade 3 version. I got another crit, which is very nice. Really want to get those crits, because not only do you need it for the deck, but also they look really cool. I wish they had a Sagittarius one, but it is what it is. And we got ourselves a front. So yeah, we might actually get a playset of each trigger with some crits, some extra crits to boot. Here's a fucking cat. And then here is what is this actually? Oh, this is actually, so each of the, this is a not triple rare but CR, which I guess is the equivalent of an SR for this. So each of the triple rare versions of the bosses has like an alternate art form. I really want to get the Bebe one. So they come in like an alternate art, and then there's one that's like frameless as well. So it's like truly SR, but this is like an old art. But it does the same thing. It's just CB1 reveal till you get dangerous skill, etc. And then its dangerous skill is that if it's revealed for it, you say the words stand up Vanguard, and you can stand your Vanguard with -1 drive at the end of valid attacks. So pretty cool. Here is the front trigger, but it's the effect front trigger, unfortunately. So you can only use that if your deck is consistent of CoroCoro cards. Here's this fat ass panda. And then we got another triple rare, which is Failure Grandpa. So this one's really cool because you can play it CB1, add any CoroCoro from among them to your hand, and if your Vanguard is Grandpa, you can, add any CoroCoro, call it, but if your Vanguard is Grandpa, put it to your hand. And then Soul Blast 1, if you attack grade 3 or greater, gets 10k, and then, you know, because these two effects are really good, it's dangerous skill, literally nothing happens. And then our last card is going to be the effect draw. So we got one each of the effect triggers, but again, you can only use that in CoroCoro. We got 4 PGs, we got 3 draws. If you count the CoroCoro one, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 crits. So decent enough to build a deck, right? We got ourselves 4 heals as well. We got an over trigger, and then you got 3, 4, 5 fronts you can choose from. So yeah, you have at least the bare minimum to build a deck, and you have PGs you can use to guard. So yeah, I guess they weren't lying in terms of you being able to use this to build a deck right out the box, right? But since this product is aimed in Japan towards kids, that is sort of the main selling point, that it's supposed to allow them to very easily get into the game with the characters that they read from their mangas or their comics, right? Which is why they are able to just buy one and hopefully build a box, which is kind of nice. But fortunately, none of this stuff has been localized, so it's kind of just whatever here in English. We got ourselves another triple rare. So this is Gabe in Order. So this is actually a reprint of Drag Raider Latefa, except it has different art, which you're just gonna have to deal with. If you don't like the CoroCoro art, it just is what it is. Got some legs for Deca. I got the grade 2 for black. All the black cards look so cool. We got a draw trigger as well. And we got the Blitz Order for Bebe, which is really cool because it looks really cool as well. Got the PG for Black Channel, very much like that. Again, wish these were in foil because, like, those are the cards. The triggers and the PGs are cards you would play in other decks, but it just sucks that they're flat rarity, and there's no way to like bling them out, right? Even if I did like the series, but oh well. Not that I would have liked the set list to be more bloated, but I feel like you could have at least just made them all rares. As much as I hate the rare foiling for English, I'm sick and tired of it. It's so boring. And it barely looks like a foiling, but it would have been better than nothing. We've seen this, there's a crit, right? Like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff mechanically, deck-wise, in these cards, but I'm not gonna spend too much time into it. There should be a video that comes out soon where I actually go over the decks you can build from this set. So look forward to that. Unfortunately, you don't get a reprint for box. As you see, the previous box I didn't get a reprint, right? Latefa is from the second box, so I guess you get either a reprint or the alt art rare, which sucks because then that one can also be an SR, I guess, which is super unfortunate, but is what it is. We got a triple rare here, which is actually a CoroCoro specific order. I'm surprised this is actually a triple rare, but it looks really nice. But it just says, look at top 5, choose up to 1 CoroCoro, put it to your hand. So this could be the PGs, because they also count as CoroCoro, right? That's pretty cool. Like, I don't know, why they bothered making that triple rare, right? Not some of the other cards, right? But whatever. It is what it is. That was the camera chan they used for black. He's essentially like the Iron Garden for Welstra. We got ourselves a triple rare here. So this is Deca-kun in a tent upper body. So this one just says on attack, if you have the legs, you can CB1 draw. And if your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, you can get 5k. Here's the effect front for CoroCoro with black on it, which looks really cool. As I said, all of his arts look really cool. Here's the tent, so that goes with the card we just saw. Here's the front. I really wish the state of the game, I guess, was more opened up, where it was more competitively viable to use all these different effect or non-effect fronts and draws. But a lot of them have really cool art. You just really have you're not incentivized to do it unless you just can't afford other versions of it, right? So, it sucks because there's a lot of cool reprints here, right? Like there's the Elementary reprint, there's a Forbidden Doll reprint, all of the discard cyclers from set 10 got reprinted, Latefa got reprinted, right? All of the Tetrafault, etc. cards got reprinted, Bulbamine got reprinted, Philander got reprinted, all that stuff. But the pull rates are just not the best, unfortunately. These were just normal packs. This set would probably be a little bit better. We got Energetic Baby. So this is a triple rare. So you explosive growth or overdress by over a Bebe grade 0, of which there is technically 3, but they're not counting the starter. There's 2. Then when this is explosive growth, you EB3 draw 1, and this gets 5k. So you can do this on turn 2, which is kind of nice, and you can constantly keep doing it because when it attacks, if you have a Vanguard or Bebe or CoroCoro, it gets 5k. But then at the end of the battle that it attacks, if you're in explosive growth, you leave the growth factor, put this back into your hand, and then leave the baby rested. So then you can every single turn overdress or explosive growth to draw, which is kind of nice. And then here's the effect draw for CoroCoro for Chrono. Each of the decks has their own version. And finally, we got ourselves a reprint. This one's for Brainwash Swirler. So, you know, on play, soul charge 1, and if your Vanguard is greater or greater, every time you soul charge, it gets 5k power. Pretty cool. This front would have been nice, the effect front, but it's the CoroCoro one, so you can't use that outside of CoroCoro. Here's Takasha Baby, or family, and then here's the heal trigger that we actually have seen already. Fortunately, already got the reprints, so don't expect too much. Here's the draw trigger, which again sucks. The art looks really cute, but what Darksake's deck uses normal fronts, right? Instead of just like effect fronts, for example. But I don't know why they couldn't just make the effect fronts playable in other decks. I feel like that would have been, or the effect triggers playable in other decks, right? Outside of CoroCoro, I feel like that would have been fine. Just make it so that they technically have the same name as the other ones, so you can't play 8 of them or whatever, because I know that's an issue. But here is the last pack, fortunately for CoroCoro. Feel like my only hit was the Brainwash Roller. Here's Satoshi. Here's the cool black. Basically does the same thing as the grade 4, except you only choose 1. And then finally we got the Shidai Rewinder crit, which is another one I feel like people are really gonna like because these are cute and chibi. But yeah, that does it for the CoroCoro unboxing here. Like I said, a lot of cool cards. I wish this set got more love and was treated better, honestly, because there's just so many cool things in here. But we'll see how this set does overall. And hoping these guys actually get support in the future. But in any case, till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Play Vanguard and have yourselves a damn good one.